Hey everyone, in this video we're going to come back to part 9 of the Perseus story from Ritchie's Fabulae Faciles. So this part is called the Reward of Valor, and if we think back to what we've been doing in the Perseus story, the last thing that happened is Perseus had shown up and he had killed, or at least severely wounded rather, the sea monster, and he had saved Andromeda from being eaten. Right, so he's in the kingdom of King Cepheus, right, and he's just saved his daughter who was being sacrificed rather to Neptune or Poseidon, depending on which name you want to use. So now we're picking up the story right after he's saved Andromeda, or at least he's fought off the sea monster, and you're going to see the reward he gets for doing this. So we start with Perseus postquam ad litus descendit primum talaria exuit. So here we have Perseus, right? Right afterward, he descended to the shore, ad litus. And remember, the reason he descended is because he's been flying around. He's wearing his talaria, which we'll get to in a second, his winged shoes, and he had just fought off the sea monster, with the implication being that he's kind of out to sea a little bit, or at least up in the air. So now he comes down to the shore, and the first thing he does is he takes off exuit, right? He took off his talaria, his winged shoes. So he fights off the sea monster again. He's flying. Now he has to come back to land, and he's not flying around anymore. Then you have tum ad rupem venet ubi Andromeda vincta erat. So then he came to the stone, the rock, right, the rupem. And remember, it's in reference to where she was. She had been tied up to this rock on the seashore so that the monster could eat her, is the idea. So he came to the rock where Andromeda was tied up, vincta erat, right? She had been bound, you might say. This is pluperfect passive tense, or passive voice, rather. You can tell because we have the fourth principal part, vincta, and you have the imperfect form of the verb to be coming after it, erat, right? So this is where she had been tied up, with the implication, again, being that she was tied up before Perseus came and showed up to rescue her, right? Which makes sense. So that's why you have that pluperfect there. Then you have ea autem, omnem spem salutis deposuerat, et ubi Perseus adit, terrore paene ex animata erat. So she, Ea, right? It's referring to Andromeda. She, however, she had de posuera, she had put down or put aside, you might say. It's giving this idea of that she had given up is kind of what's happening here. Literally, it means she'd kind of put to the side. And again, it's pluperfect. You can tell by the erat ending. It's the third principal part, right? Deposu is the stem. Deposui is where it comes from. And you have the imperfect of esse on it. So this is active voice, pluperfect tense. And again, it just means she had put aside, right? She laid aside. What did she put aside? Omnem spem, all hope, right? And it's all hope of safety, salutis, right? The genitive. So all hope of rescue might be a good way to do it. It's saying that she'd already given up. She didn't think she was going to be rescued, so she's already kind of checked out. Then you have, and when Perseus arrived, right? Perseus adit, when he got there, she almost ex animata erat. Here we have the fourth principal part, ex animata, and again, the A is in reference, it's feminine singular, it's in reference to Andromeda. Then you have the imperfect of the verb to be, erat, coming after it. Again, it's just pluperfect, passive voice. So she had almost been killed, is kind of one way to translate this. It really means like her soul had left her, right? Ex animata, extinguished is kind of one way to think of it. She had almost been killed from the terrore. So again, it's just the ablative of cause, terrore, right? What almost killed her, the terror, right? So again, it's talking about how she's feeling. She's been tied up. The sea monster's coming. It's so overwhelming, and she just didn't think anyone was going to be able to rescue her that she almost died. Literally, ex animata almost has this idea of like being exhausted to it too. Like giving up and just kind of letting go is really what it's getting after here. But Perseus saves her is the idea. Then you have ille vincula statum solvit, et puellam patri redidit. So ille is he, Perseus, right? It's masculine, so it's in reference to Perseus. So what did he do? He broke the vincula, the chains. And he does it statum immediately. So he immediately breaks the chains, the vincula, and he raided it. Now this is literally re do, right? To give back. Re, again, or back, and then do dare, to give. So he immediately he gave back, or brought back, you might say, the puella, the girl, to her father, patri, there's your dative. So he breaks her chains, he frees her, sets her free, you might say, and then he brought the girl back to her father, rated it puellam patri. Next, we have Cepheus ob hanc rem maximo gaudio affectus est. So remember, Cepheus is the king, Andromeda's father, right? But the king in this region, and it's saying affectus est. He was overcome, you might say, or was affected. Literally, it's the fourth principal part, affectus, and again, it's masculine singular because it's referring to King Cepheus, right? Cepheus. So it's talking about him being, overwhelmed or affected, however you want to translate that. It's getting at the same idea, but it's perfect tense passive voice because you have the present tense of esse going with that fourth principal part. So he was affected or overwhelmed on account of this thing, honc rem, and he was overwhelmed by the greatest joy, maximo gaudio. So on account of this thing, he was kind of overcome or affected or overwhelmed by the greatest joy, with the greatest joy. So it's saying that he's happy, right? So that's, and honc rem here is referring to the fact that Perseus just saved his daughter, right? So because of this thing, meaning Perseus saving Andromeda, he's very happy, right? Maximo gaudio. So this is where the reward is going to come into play, because he's going to reward Perseus for saving his daughter. So what does he do? You have meritam gratiam pro tanto beneficio Perseo retulet. So he gave to Perseus, right? Perseo retulet. That's kind of the main idea. And again, retulet is literally re thero, right? He kind of gave back to Perseus, right? What did he give to Perseus? Meritam gratiam. Meritam means like, it's where you get the word merited or meritus in English. It means just or deserved is kind of one way to translate it. He gave to him his deserved gratiam, thanks, his just thanks or deserved thanks, right? Pro means for. It really means here like in return for. So in return for tanto beneficio, such kindness, right? Such a kind act, meaning Perseus saving Andromeda. So he gave to Perseus, deserved or just thanks in return for such a kind act. So again, the idea is he probably rewarded him. Some money is pretty good, right? You would imagine the reward was some gold, something along those lines. But more importantly for the story, you have praeterea. Moreover, right? What else did he do? Cepheus, the king, dated. He gave Andromeda herself, Andromedam ipsam, right? So here again, the full line is praeterea Andromedam ipsam a in matrimonium dated. Okay, so dated. He gave, moreover, Andromeda herself. Right? Andromedam ipsam, that's your direct object. He gave her to him. A here is the dative, the dative pronoun. It means to Perseus, right? To him. He gave her in matrimonium, in marriage, right? And this is kind of an idiomatic phrase, meaning he basically, exactly what it sounds like, he offered Andromeda to Perseus to be married. He said, hey, thanks for saving my daughter. Why don't you marry her? It's kind of the reward that Perseus gets. Okay, so that's his reward. He gets a lot of thanks, right? Deserved thanks, gratiam, maybe some money on the side, who knows? And he also gets, Perseus gets Andromeda as his wife, is kind of the idea. Then you have ille libenter hoc donum accepit et puellam duxit. So ille here is Perseus, he, right? He graciously libenter, he thankfully or graciously accepted accepit, right? He accepted hoc donum, this gift. And again, this is kind of weird where it's talking about giving a daughter as a gift, but that's the idea, right? So he graciously accepted this gift, and he duxit puellam, he led the daughter. And again, really what it means here is duxit in matrimonium, right? He led her in marriage. So it doesn't mean necessarily that he led her away, although you could read that. He just kind of grabbed her and took her. That's not really what it's getting at. It really means that he married her is the idea, right? He literally led her in marriage. So this is kind of the reward. Perseus, he saves Andromeda, and now they're going to be married. And this is where sort of the next phase of his life starts, okay? And it shows up in the way that it's described here by Ritchie, where it says paucos annos, for a few years, right? Cum uxore sua in ea regione habitabat. So for a few years, he was living, meaning Perseus was living, right, in this region, right? Ea is just the demonstrative adjective going with regione, right? And again, paucos annos here is accusative. It's showing that duration of time. So for a few years, he was living cum uxore, with his wife, and again, sua is the reflexive, the possessive rather, it's his own wife, with his wife in that region, meaning in the kingdom of Cepheus, right? With the Ethiopians. And in magno honore erat apud omnes Aethiopes. So he was kind of held, you might say, in magno honore, in great honor, among, right, apud, among, omnes Aethiopes, all the Ethiopians. So it means that he got to live there, and they all loved him because he had just rescued their princess, and he'd done this great thing. He saved them from the sea monster, so he's held in magno honore, right? In great honor by everyone. So he has a pretty good life. If you kind of pause the Perseus story right here, he's got a pretty good life. Rather, he has a wife. He's kind of accomplished all these heroic things. He killed Medusa, and then he went off and fought off the sea monster. But if you're thinking about the main story, remember the whole point of this was because he has this king trying to marry his mom, kind of, back in Greece. And so this is where we've got to go next, is what happened with his mom, which is the main story. And you have magna per tamen, matram suam rursus videre cupiebat. So magna per means just greatly. So he greatly wanted cupiebat. He was desiring, right? However, tamen. So he was greatly desiring to see videre, his mother, matram suam, his own mother, rursus, again. So he still has this pull of his duty, which is to get back to his mother, right? That's who he's been with this whole time and who saved him when he was a little baby. So now he feels that tug of like, yes, I have a good life. I've set up a lot of great stuff here with King Cepheus in Ethiopia, and I have Andromeda, but I want to see my mother again. So finally, tandem igitur, so therefore finally, cum uxore sua, with his wife, right, which is Andromeda, a regno cephe discessit. So he departed, discessit, right, he left from the regno, the kingdom of Cepheus, Cephe, right, so he gets out. Right, so he finally leaves. So there's a little bit of a delay, which we see a lot in these sort of heroic stories where, the hero will get distracted and then they're like, oh yeah, I have this duty I need to do, right? That's kind of what's happening here in the Perseus story. He got distracted for a little bit in Ethiopia, but now he remembers he needs to go back and save his mom, which is setting up the last chapter of this whole story. And it'll bring together the whole idea of fate. So you might remember the whole story of Perseus is there's this prophecy that he's going to end up killing the king. That's where we're headed now. Now that he's accomplished all these things, we're coming back to the king and to find his mother, and you're going to see what ends up happening. So hopefully the Latin here was pretty straightforward and you understood it. If you get stuck, again, I would highly recommend that you're reading these stories aloud. The more you can read them without kind of stopping every word to translate, the better off you're going to be and the more comfortable you're going to be with it, right? So just try reading it, practice the vocab in advance, always prep yourself by knowing what the words are, and then just see if you can make some sense of it. And after you've read through it and you feel like you have a decent understanding of it, then go back and try to pick it apart and really figure out what the grammar was. But the more you read, the more you practice your translations, the better off you're going to be. If you have any questions at all or anything is bothering you about any way I translated it, feel free to just put it in the comments. I'll help whoever I can. But again, other than that, just keep reading. And again, the more you do this, the better you're going to feel. And hopefully you're enjoying this story so far.